And I found out that this Serapis was given to the successor of Alexander the Great. I don't use the Great because I'm not going to call no European great that tried to destroy my ancestors.
Now, that's clearly one of the major contributions that Walter Williams added to the African Center community was the knowledge of the Serapis. You know what I'm saying? Serapis, you feel me? He brought that and made the connection between the Serapis and the image of what we know of today as Jesus Christ. And broke off into them Ptolemies and the Eucharistos and Epiphanes, Eucharistos, Ptolemy. And I saw that, and when I went in there, and I said, I got to look, I got to go behind him now. I can't just, and I went behind him, and listen here, validated it. Yes, indeed, it's true. And it can't be a coincidence. It's just not going. And another acknowledgement is his. And the Medu Neter, the Egyptian hieroglyphics, has never been deciphered. I took a lot of flack for that. Y'all know that. I took a lot of flack for that. You know what I'm saying? I fell out with a whole lot of people over that. But it was research that was in alignment with what I was doing, the research that I was doing. And I say, and y'all know I'm not the type of person where I'm just gonna believe anything. I say, you know what? Let me see. Let me follow his instruction. Let me go behind him and I'm gonna double check. I'm gonna triple check. And I did that. And I couldn't find any flaws in his methodology. You see, I couldn't find any flaws in his methodology. I just couldn't. And so, and a lot of people, and I went to do research on top of that. I laid on that information and I went, above and beyond, what the information he gave me. I went because I just had to keep checking to see if the information was correct. And as far and as deep as I went into the studies, there's no crack. There's no crack in the methodology. It's no crack in the methodology. It's hardcore, and it hurt a lot of people. It hurt a lot of people, and and so, and by him being such, outside of the mainstream of even African-centered scholars, he was the rebel. You see. Yeah, yeah, let me tell you, you know what? Walter Williams is a renegade. Walter Williams is a true renegade. That's what he is, and so those, and that's profound when you talk about the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics has never been deciphered. Jesus is Serapis. Muhammad is another Serapis. Yeah, Walter Williams most definitely came in and turned over a lot of tables. He turned over a lot of tables. And you know what? Sometimes, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to put the Grand Master back on. Sometimes we can get in a lane and we become comfortable in that lane. You feel what I'm saying? We become comfortable. We become stagnated in that lane. You feel me? And I'm the type, I like to go out of bounds, I like to go out of bounds and do my research. I don't like to stay in no lane because I like to debate and everything. And so when I'm debate, see, I like to go where I know nobody going. You see what I'm saying? So when I come out of bounds, and I come and I land back on earth, you feel me? That I know they ain't got nothing for what I'm talking about because I know they ain't even where I'm, they not even going or even know to go where I'm going. So, I love, the teachers that go out of bounds and Professor Walter Williams, most definitely, man. His research was on another, from another place. You feel what I'm saying? He came from another place to drop this information on us. And man, I just want to praise his name. You feel what I'm saying? Let's listen to the master teach.
I'm not gonna do that. I can give you the Greek. That's the best I can do for him. Okay? Not the great. And when Alexander came into Egypt, I'll tell you how it started. He is the first known European to come into the continent of Africa in Egypt, historically known. Okay? He came in 332 BCE. Didn't have to have an army to invade. You know why? Because the ancient Egyptians never had an army, nor did they have jails. Didn't have no jails. Civilized people don't have armies and jails. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Only corrupt people have jails. If you have a corrupt government, quite naturally the people living in the secular community gonna be corrupt. So when they get out of line, you put them in jail. Okay? And you have an army. What is your army for? To go around and terrorize other people around the world. Rape their women, take their land, steal from them, kill them, take their resources, everything. That's what you need an army for. Okay? Now, anybody seen the picture, the movie called Alexander? If you go to see Alexander, my wife and I, we went to see Alexander. It's a funny thing about Alexander, that movie. They showed Alexander killing, robbing, stealing, all throughout the movie. And they only talk about Alexander going into Egypt. They never showed Alexander coming into Egypt. You know why? First, if it showed Alexander coming into Egypt, they would have had to show Africans in Egypt. They didn't want to do that. Secondly, they would have showed that the ancient Egyptians had no army. You see? A civilized people, the ancient Egyptians, civilized this whole entire world of all races. Creeds and color are using the civilization and the culture of the ancient Egyptian, right? At this very moment that I'm talking to you. You cannot go around to civilize other people throughout the world and then bust them upside their head at the same time and rape their women at the same time and plunder their land and steal from them and lie and cheat. You can't do that. You're out of cosmic order. Okay? You're out of cosmic order. You're out of cosmic order when you embrace a religion. You're out of tune with cosmic order. You see that? We have to bring balance back to this world. And we're the only people on earth that can do that. Bring balance. No other race of people can do that. Because we are the Pied Pipers of the world. the world is following this American African Negro.
You hearing?
Who's been trained to call himself a Negro, Black, and African American. The world is following us.
Mm.
If we turn our caps backwards, they do it too. They don't know why they're doing it. They're following us. Okay? When we do the electric slide, they out there doing the electric slide too. You see? So when we when we rap, they out there.
You got to understand the argument that's going on right now. How people's instilling our culture and things of that nature. He was already telling us even back then when he did this lecture that they stealing from us, that they follow, and here we is today going through and they sitting here talking about what we not doing and how we lazy and this, that. Walter Williams had already cracked that code over 20-some years ago. He had already told us ahead. And see, we got to go back. Yeah, didn't he just say it? He just said it. You feel me? So yeah, and so he most definitely, you know, he's a great teacher and we could call him a prophet too, because he prophesies. You see, and we ain't got to get spooky about it neither, but he did that.
Trying to rap to they don't know what the hell they're talking about. When we hip hop, they wear them old baggy bitches and showing the crack of their behind. They don't know what they're doing. They following this Negro. See, we're the Pied Pipers. See, and then they have a television program that comes on every Saturday. Okay, and what's the name of it now? Soul Train. They have Soul Train to teach white people and the other races of people how to dance. Why you think that? Why you think it's been on so long? Look, Don Cornelius got so old his face dropped. Okay, and he going to retirement. Soul Train is still on. White folks, they out there every weekend trying to learn the latest dance because we change dances on them every week. 1 week we're killing roaches. Kill that roach, squish, squash, you know. Next week we're doing the boogaloo, you know. So they can't keep up with it. So they do that by way of Soul Train. See? So when you embrace a religion, I have to interject all this stuff. It's all basically the same thing. When you embrace a religion, you're out of tune.
You're out of tune. With
cosmic world order. We're the only people that can bring balance back to the world. Okay? Only people. Okay? So I'm talking about the American African. The American African.
You hear
you
that?
See that? We're the only one. Because the other Africans out there, they out of it.
You hear that? You hear that? See, when you go back and you listen to me and I teach that now. That's the teach. That's my teacher. You see? Yeah, and that's what I try to tell you. It's us. It's us. That's where, you know what I'm saying? It's us. Ain't nobody could do it but us. That's right. We the ones. You feel me? We the ones that you know that got the lead in this area. We can't depend on nobody else to do it. Okay, because they not equipped. And not only did we have, you know, and here's where we had the great university of scholars, you know, Walter Williams, Professor Walter Williams, the Dr. Ben, the Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Francis Cress Welsing, and all the other greats, you see, and all the other greats. And so, you know, who better equipped than us? You know, who had a chance to sit at the feet of all these grandmaster teachers like us? You know, we most equipped to do this. Malcolm. Yeah, Malcolm, you know, and Malcolm was even before the African Center, but he was there. He was also a part of that. you know. But we talking about the ones I didn't have a chance to sit at the feet of Malcolm. You know, he died before I was even born. You know, and so, but I had a chance to sit at the feet of Walter Williams, Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, you know. And so they equipped us with lessons in nationalism and global African supremacy, the Nile Valley, you know, that no other people on the planet had opportunity to hear that. So, you know, and we accepted it. You know, many of our where, you know, you look around the world and they still in denial of that information. You see, and so, you know, he's telling you exactly the truth when he say it's us. And it is. And that's why, you know, I have, you know, and that's why I teach the way that I do. I don't teach it, you know, some other people got their own way, you know, of trying to express this, but it's in divinity, not just to be, you know, continue to put out nasty information and shit about what's going on. No, because if you divine, you got to rise above that. You know, at the same time, we check things, but we also have to be, you know, divine in our presentation of who we are. And so we got to rise above and just teach at time, you know, and that's what, you know, we intend to do as we move forward, you know, because when you start seeing the great teachers, you know, they move on to the ancestor. The clock is turning. It's your time now to teach and lead. You see what I'm saying? It's our time now. The clock didn't turn. You know, it's on us. It's on us to continue to teach the great lessons of the master teachers. And so let's continue on with the great message.
Brother Clemson went to Ghana. He told me that Nigeria, and yeah, Ghana too. And Ghana too. I've said Ghana. He went to Ghana and Nigeria. They had some of the biggest posters of this Jesus the Christ, white Jesus. I know about it. You know about it? You know, they're all on the bus praying and singing to Jesus. You know, so hey, we had to mark them off. We had to start here in America, okay? Where the leading Africans live. Okay, so now, here you have going back to the historical origin of Christianity. I found out that when Alexander came into Egypt, didn't have to bring an army like I mentioned. But he was in awe of what he saw. He said, wow, look at these people here. Look at this civilization. They're doing this peacefully. They didn't have no armies and they're not fighting and killing each other. See? Because every white man and every white woman and every white child that you see walking on earth today are descendants of savages. I'm not making fun of them. This is their record. I didn't make their record. Huh? Did I make their record? No. Okay. When a criminal go before the judge, and the judge has his record before him, he say, "Oh, I see you have stole cars, you have broken into homes, you have raped women, you know, and so forth." Who made that record? The thief or the person before the judge. So when I make that statement, I'm not criticizing them. I'm bringing facts. Stronger than argument. More profound than reasoning. More dependable than opinion. Silences dispute. Supersedes predictions and facts. Always ends the argument. See? So now, Alexander comes into Egypt in 332 BCE. He lived for 9 years and he died. His army general, Ptolemy I Lagi, took over Egypt. And the Greeks and the Romans knew that in order to rule Egypt, they had to be accepted by the ancient Egyptian sacred society. They had to be accepted by them. But our ancestors did not take foreigners into their sacred society. They handpicked their own African kind to come in. Okay? So when they tried to get in, they was turned down. Said, no, we don't do that. We don't. And then our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, did not race mix. They didn't mix with no race, other races, foreign races, even though they went around the world civilizing other races, but they never mixed with them. Okay? So this Ptolemy thought up a great idea. He went and found him a temple in Memphis, Egypt, to make his image into a god. And what these group of Melkite Coptic Egyptians did, they took two of our deities, Osiris and Apis, and came out with the name Serapis. And they gave it to this image that you now see as Jesus the Christ, gave it to Ptolemy I Lagi, called Soter. The word Soter means Savior. Okay? This is the image that you're worshiping today as Jesus the Christ, the Savior. This is the image of Ptolemy I Lagi, the successor of Alexander the Greek, after Alexander and the Greeks came into Egypt. You see that? This is the image. So he went to the temples and said, okay, now that I am made into a god, accept me. They said, no, we're not going to do that, man. We still won't accept you. So he closed down all of the temples throughout Egypt. And except for the temple in Memphis, Egypt, that made his image into a god. And he confiscated all of their divine scroll manuscripts from those other temples and housed it into the temple in Memphis, Egypt, where they had made his image into a god. But that image was named Serapis. It's in this book, Serapis. Okay? And then he began to try to get the grassroots Coptic Egyptians to accept this image like they accepted their deity, Osiris. Now you look at this deity of Osiris, that's one of our ancestors. Now who does this Osiris image look like? It looks like us, don't it? Huh? Looks like us. We don't look like this. You see that? It's a difference. See? So now, since we didn't do that, he closed down all the temples throughout Egypt, confiscated all of our sacred writings from our ancestors' temples throughout Egypt, housed it into the temple in Memphis, Egypt, that made his image into a deity, supposed deity, known as Serapis. They took two of our deities, Osiris and Apis, and put it together and made a composite of the two names of Osiris. Gave him the name of Osiris or Serapis. Okay, so every Ptolemy that ruled Egypt thereafter became the vicar of Serapis, who sat on that throne. Just like the Pope over in Rome today. He is the vicar of Christ. That means the same as. The vicar means same as Christ. You see? So these Ptolemy and Roman rules became the same as Serapis. The same as his image. You see that? But in the meantime, his grandson, Ptolemy III, Eugethes I, the grandson of Ptolemy I Lagi called Soter, who this image of Serapis was made into a god, now known today as Jesus Christ. He built a temple and a library that was adjacent to that building, a temple called the Serapeum Temple. And the library that he built, the adjacent building, is called the Great Library of Egypt. Okay? And he built other temple throughout Egypt. Okay, he built the Mithraeum in Syria. That's all part of, like I told you, the area over there in Syria is part of the African continent. See, but those Greeks was ruling all that area over there. See, so he built another temple to his grandfather in Canopus, Egypt. Okay, but we're going to concentrate on the Serapeum temple in Alexandria, Egypt, where the supposed great library was made. Because
you know what? I'm gonna be breaking these lectures up. We're gonna be honoring Professor Walter Williams all this week. You know, I've been you know, I could see I'm falling in, and I ain't gonna, you know, we ain't gonna be able to get out of it until it's all over with. But what we'll do is we'll be breaking and cutting up pieces of his lectures. I'm gonna be right back tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So we're gonna honor and show tribute to the Grand Master all next week. You know, we love him, and most definitely we appreciate all his sacrifice and his immense contribution to the African Center community, waking us up. You know, most definitely he has, again, his influence on my scholarship is immense. You know, he's right up there with Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, Khalid Abdul Muhammad. He is most definitely on my Mount Rushmore, you know, no doubt about it. And so, yes, Professor Walter Williams have become an ancestor, and he was up there. Now he lived to be almost 100 years old. Yeah, he lived to almost be 100 years old. Now, I don't know exactly what I don't know exactly how old he was, but I don't know if it was 97, 98. But Professor Walter Williams lived to be almost 100 years. And so that in itself is a blessing, you know, that we could have one of the Grand Masters for that long. And what's crazy about it, he was still punishing. He was still punishing scholars, man, sitting up in the chair, you know, in the lazy boy, you know, where, you know, and he was still punishing, you know, punishing so-called scholars, you know, and that is even, that's is even profound that he was able to do that, you know. Like, you think you can't even, you still can't touch the old man. You can't touch him. He's too sharp. You know, the information is too concrete. You know, and so we love him, we praise him, and you know, bless his spirit and soul. You know, bless his spirit and soul. We'll be tributing and showing veneration to the Grand Master all week. So y'all come on out, and we're gonna chop up some of these lectures, and you know, and introducing to maybe the younger the younger members out there that's you just tapping into this information. If you had not had an opportunity to witness the Grand Master, come on out and man, get plugged in. You feel me? Appreciate y'all. We just getting started this evening. Hit me up. Links in the chat. That's for that. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast. Daily liberation through African education and confrontation. Black Power.